All right, Capcom has finally did it. After years of rumors, years of leaks, years of Resident Evil fans standing outside Capcom headquarters like conspiracy theorists with a cork board and a red string, Resident Evil Veronica is finally happening. And honestly, about time. Because as you know, the same fans that started with Resident Evil 2 Remake, then played Resident Evil 4 Remake, then jumped straight into Village. Meanwhile, Code Veronica has been sitting in the corner like, hey guys, I'm kind of important. And it is important. Actually, it's really important because without Code Veronica, the Resident Evil timeline gets a little weird. It's like watching a movie trilogy and skipping the middle film. Imagine watching The Empire Strikes Back and then jumping straight to Return of the Jedi. You'd be like, wait a minute, Vader is Luke's father? When did all that happen? That's basically Code Veronica. This is Claire's story, Chris's story, Wesker's story, and honestly, it's the game that sets up a huge amount of what happens later, especially Resident Evil 5. Speaking of Wesker, can we talk about how this man refuses to stay dead? Seriously. At this point, Wesker has survived more things than my Xbox controller. Every time you think he's gone, he comes back wearing sunglasses indoor like the world's most dangerous nightclub owner. Now, the trailer itself looks fantastic. Claire looks great. The atmosphere looks great. The island looks creepy. The environment actually feels dangerous, which is actually what I wanted because Rockford Island is supposed to feel insane. This isn't Raccoon City. This is basically an umbrella facility designed by people who failed every psychological evaluation in manageable. And that's why I'm excited. But let's talk about the absolute assignment understanding mic drop moment of this entire trailer. Because amid all the cinematic drama and creepy hallways, Capcom decided to bless us with a glimpse of the myth, the legend himself, Hunk. Mr. Death is officially back, ladies and gentlemen, and the trailer made sure you knew he wasn't there to make friends. Seeing him in RE Engine glory, standing in the shadows with those glowing red lenses, absolutely sent chills down my spine. And honestly, it makes total sense that Capcom is putting the spotlight back on him right now. Look at what they just did with him in Requiem. Seeing Hunk step into the role of an elite commander in Requiem absolutely blew everyone's mind. It proves that Mr. Death isn't just a side mode minigame character anymore. Capcom is treating him like the absolute legend he is. So, if his appearance in Requiem was the main course, this Code Veronica trailer is Capcom reminding us where these brutal roots come from. Because remember, Hunk literally trained the Umbrella security force right there on Rockford Island. If we get a playable flashback or a side campaign showing him laying down the law on the island in Resident Evil Engine glory, take my money right now. Seriously, Hunk looks so imposing. In this footage, he makes the standard zombie look like they were just standing in line at a grocery store. If his segment in this game is half intense as his trailer cameo, we are in for a brutal time. But I also have concerns because, for the love of the Matrix, if Capcom gets the Ashford twins wrong, we're all going to know within about 5 minutes because Capcom has a history and Resident Evil's fans have trust issues. You know why. Resident Evil 3 Remake. Now, before you guys throw me into a cargo plane with the Tyrant, hear me out. I actually like Resident Evil 3 Remake, but let's not pretend content wasn't missing. Capcom looked at some of the sections of that game and basically said, we're just gonna leave that part out, and then left. So my biggest fear with Veronica isn't that it'll be bad. My biggest fear is that they'll start cutting things because Veronica has some crazy moments, some weird moments, some absolute ridiculous moments. And I want every single one of them. I mean, look at the trailer. The scale of the remake looks massive. The lighting, the reimagining of the training facility, the eerie gothic undertone mixed with the industrial nightmare feel. It all looks incredible in the trailer footage. They're clearly leaning heavily into the horror survivor roots here, but a pretty trailer doesn't mean they won't trim the fat. And as a Code Veronica purist, I happen to like the fat. I don't want Capcom showing up with scissors. I want Capcom showing up with a bigger budget, especially when it comes to the creatures. Because let's be real for a second. Code Veronica has some of the most unhinged, nightmare inducing monsters design in the entire series, and Capcom better not sanitize them. I need to see what the RE engine does with the Bandersnatchers. You know, those creepy yellow giant arm freak shows that used to grab you from across the room. If Capcom doesn't make those look absolute grotesque and terrifying, what are we even doing here? And what about the gulp worm or the obenoids? If Requiem proved anything, it's that Capcom knows how to upgrade their classic bioweapons to make them feel more genuine modern threat. But Code Veronica is a different beast. I'm sitting here wondering if they're going to give us a brand new mutant we've never seen before, or even if they're going to complete overall the origins to make them fit a more realistic grounding horror vibe. Either way, do not cut out the giant spiders. I know modern gamers hate putting spiders in because of arachnophobia mods, but this is Rockford Island. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. Give me the giant bugs, give me the mutate freaks, and let me suffer the way I did back on the Dreamcast. Now let's talk about the Ashford twins, because ladies and gentlemen, we officially entered the danger zone. The Ashfords are some of the weirdest characters Resident Evil has ever created, and I mean that as a compliment. Those two make the Baker family look like they host neighborhood barbecues. You can't tone them down. You can't make them less weird. You can't make them realistic. That's like buying a tyrant and complaining it's too tall. The weirdness is the character. If Alfred Ashford doesn't make me uncomfortable, something has gone terribly wrong. I need the creepy laugh. I need the awkward conversations. I need the moments that make me question whether somebody at Umbrella forgot to fund therapy. Because if they nail the Ashford, this remake could be special. Then we have Steve Burnside. Oh boy. Let's talk about Steve. Actually, no. Let's all take a moment first because Steve is coming back. Some of you are excited, some of you are nervous, some of you are just sighing out loud. I heard it. Now, personally, I think this remake is Steve's best chance. Because let's be honest, Steve has always been one of the most divisive characters in Resident Evil history. Half of the fandom wants to save him, the other half wants to mute him. But if Capcom updates the writing, add some depth, make him less annoying, this could be the redemption arc nobody saw coming. Imagine living in a world where Resident Evil fans actually like Steve Burnside. That's scarier than most Resident Evil monsters. Now, here's the thing nobody is talking about. Everybody is focused on Claire. Everybody is focused on Steve. Everybody is focused on the Ashfords. But I think the real winner here could be Wesker. Because Cole Veronica is where Wesker starts becoming the Wesker. The version everybody remembers. The version that eventually becomes Chris Redfield's personal migraine. This is where he stops being like a villain and starts feeling like a force of nature. And if Capcom gets Wesker right, the setup for the future Resident Evil 5 remake could be incredible. Which brings me to my final point. This remake isn't just about Code Veronica. It's about the future of Resident Evil. Because if Veronica succeeds, Resident Evil 5 becomes easier. The Chris and Wesker rivalry becomes stronger. New fans finally understand why Claire never stopped looking for Chris. And the entire timeline suddenly makes a lot more sense. That's why this remake matters. It's not just another remake. It's the missing chapter, the bridge, the game that's been sitting on the bench waiting to be put in the starting lineup. And now it's finally getting its chance. So now I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm hopeful. and I'm already preparing myself for whatever argument the Resident Evil community starts next. Because let's be honest, Resident Evil fans don't stay calm for very long. Let me know in the comment section. Do you think Code Veronica was the remake Capcom should have made next? How hype are you to see Hunk follow up his role in Requiem? And which classic creature are you most terrified to see in the RE engine?